Hey everybody, welcome to day 2 of the $1,000 challenge, and this week it's a pantry challenge, which if you haven't done a pantry challenge before, it is not as scary as what it sounds. If you've been following us on Instagram for a while, you notice that we love a good pantry challenge. We usually do one about every 4 to 6 weeks because even on our tight little budget, we do find that there are things that build up over time. And we like to use that up. We like to use up everything. So a pantry challenge is a great way to do that. And you would have seen in this morning's email a couple of statistics that I brought to your attention because I think that they are really important. One of them is the amount of wastage that the average Australian family produces every week from their grocery shopping. And it's quite alarming, really, when you think about it. According to the research, we throw out approximately 20% of everything that we buy. And that's a huge number. When you look at what the average Australian family spends on their groceries each week, 20% of that is about $50 or $60. That is a huge amount of money that we are just throwing in the bin every week because we're not organised and we are not utilising everything that we've got. The other thing I wanted to bring to your attention, and I hope that you did this yesterday, if you haven't had a chance to, take some time today, go back over the last couple of bank statements or credit card statements that you have and look at what your average weekly spend is at the shops. Add everything up that comes under groceries, because sometimes we do a big shop and we'll go back a couple of days later and we'll pick up a couple of little bits and pieces, and then we might just pop in on the weekend and grab some extras. So I want you to add that up for the entire month and then work out what your average spend is per week. At least then we know where we're starting from. Because when we do a pantry challenge, part of it is using up all that stuff, yeah, for sure. But the other part of it is taking what you would have spent at the grocery store this week and intentionally putting that money to better use. So your challenge today is to not go grocery shopping and instead take that money that you would have spent and put it in your $1,000 challenge account. So for us, we normally go shopping on Mondays. We're not going to go shopping today. We are going to do a full pantry challenge, and we're going to take our budgeted amount of $150 and put that straight into our $1,000 challenge account. If you average more than that, if you're more like $200 or even $250, take that money and put it in your challenge account. That is a great start for that $1,000 account. One thing I will say is that this is a pantry challenge. It is not a complete spending freeze. So there is a little bit of wiggle room in here. You can take a little bit of your grocery budget and go and purchase some essentials if you absolutely have to. If you absolutely cannot substitute or work around it, then please feel free to go and spend a really small amount of your grocery budget on some essential items. The example being, if you need to supplement, say, your kids' lunches, and you need to make sure that they have fresh fruit in there, they have something for sip and crunch, make sure that you go and buy a really small amount of things to get you through that particular issue so that you are, obviously you're doing what you need to do in that area. But for everything else, I want you to think outside of the box, which means in our house, this is a no rules week. We can eat anything and it doesn't matter. We can have breakfast cereal for dinner. It doesn't matter. We can have maybe rice pudding for breakfast. It doesn't matter. The point is that, we're not sticking hard and fast to the meat and 3 veg rule or anything like that. We are using up everything that we've got. Sometimes these are a bit of a weird concoction that comes up. Sometimes you'll have one person having one thing and another person having something different. It doesn't matter. It is no rules this week. It is eat up everything that you have. It's essentially a free-for-all, but that's cool. The kids love it. They think it's hilarious. So, pantry challenges, how to make them work the best way. For us, we have found that the best thing to do is to start by pulling everything out, putting it all on the bench, writing a big list of what you've got, picking out a couple of key items that have been hanging around for way too long, and then working out how you can use those things. So you might have to spend a bit of time today on Google and look at ways to use some of these weird ingredients that you bought way back when and you don't really know what to do with. You might have that half a bag of black beans lying around that you just don't know what to do with. So jump on Google, see what recipes that you can come up with that will utilize those things that you've been holding on to for way too long. The caveat to that is you need to try and create something that is going to utilize or substitute in other ingredients that you have, and not pick recipes that are going to require you to go and buy a whole heap of other fancy fandangle ingredients that are just going to end up going and sitting on the shelf and not being used as well. This is all about using up what you already have. So sometimes you're going to try something and it's going to be fantastic. Sometimes you might try something and it's not super great, but you know what, it's food, so you're going to eat it, and that's awesome. The point is, let's use up all of those things that you have already invested your money in, because that's what's happened. We've invested our money in these things with the intention of consuming them, and then we haven't consumed them. So this week, that's what we're doing. We are going to consume all of this food that we bought for that purpose. Meal planning is definitely something that will help us down the track stop ending up in this hoarding food that we don't use situation. So meal planning is great to keep us on track for as we move past this week. But this week, it is no rules. It's just you come up with whatever you can come up with, and it will be awesome. I would love it if you guys could share some of your pantry challenge creations on Instagram or in Facebook. If you could tag us in them so that we can see them, that would be absolutely fantastic. And share what is working for you guys. Because the one thing that I've found is that sometimes we sit there and we have this weird ingredient like our half a packet of dried black beans that we don't know what to do with, and it takes that inspiration of seeing what somebody else has done, seeing somebody else's awesome meal creation, and it sparks this thing that we go, oh wow, you know, I could do that, or I could do something similar to that, or you know, maybe that's something we could do to use up our bag of black beans that have been hanging around for too long. So I'm really big on sharing. Sharing is caring. These are the sorts of things that would be awesome to share on social media if you could. The other thing that would be really awesome, if I can ask you guys to do this, if you don't mind, is if you could share in the group what your average weekly spend on groceries is and how much you are going to be able to put in your $1,000 account by doing a pantry challenge. That would be some awesome statistics that we could also use to help improve the challenge going further on. So we know what works for us and we know what works for, you know, the families that we've spoken to, but we want to really make this $1,000 challenge huge. We want to get it out to as many Australian families as we can. So the more data we get with respect to that sort of stuff, the better that we can make this challenge going forward. So if you don't mind sharing some of your personal information with us in the Facebook group, it will definitely help us improve the challenge going forward. And as always, I promise that any information that you do share will be completely anonymous, and it basically just goes into our data bank to help us make the challenge even better. So I'm going to try and wrap this up today. I've been trying really hard to keep this video under 15 minutes, and so far I'm doing really good, so yay! Hopefully they won't all be like 25 minutes long. Let us know how you go, guys. I'd love some feedback on what you are doing with your pantry challenge. I would love some feedback on how much this particular tip is helping your family. And if you have any questions or you're not sure about anything, or do you know what, if you actually happen to be really good at this, if this is that one thing that you are just the bomb at, then jump on in the group and help some other people out. Give them some inspiration. Tell them your tips and tricks and the things that you do to make pantry challenges work really well. Because, sharing is caring, and we all bring so much to this challenge that we can share, and we can all help each other out, and that would be super awesome. So if you have any great recipes, or if you've come up with some kind of pantry challenge creation that was so good it's entered into your ordinary meal plan rotation, let us know, because that's the sort of stuff that we love. We love fast, fun, and frugal meals. So, if you've got any of those, be sure to pop them in the group today. That would be fantastic. All right, until tomorrow, good luck with your pantry challenge. Hopefully you guys can be putting, $100 or $200 in your $1,000 challenge account this week just by using up what you already have, which would be awesome. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.